StrayAllDay.com.
You're now tuned into the show where you learn the discipline to show up day after day to do the work, the confidence to put yourself out there boldly and authentically, and the mental toughness to continue showing up, doing the work, putting yourself out there, even when the success you've expected to achieve has yet to be achieved. And on top of all this, you get a huge dose of personal initiative, which is what? That is a go-getter energy that moves any one of us, including yourself, to go and make things happen instead of waiting for things to happen. And then we put all this together into a series of frameworks, approaches, insights, strategies, and techniques all underneath the umbrella of one unified philosophy that is called Work on Your Game. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known as Dre All Day, and welcome to the show. And today's topic is you need more than ads. Yes, more than ads. When I say ads, I mean advertising. So I might just stretch it out and call it that for the title of this episode. We'll get into what that means momentarily. But before we do that, I remind everybody, I send out a text message every day, guaranteed to have you focused, sharp, and on point. It's called the Daily Motivation. I send one out every Monday called the Monday Motivation. You should be receiving these texts. All you got to do, if you are not, is text me to join my text community. My number is 305-384-6894. We should have that working by the time you hear this. If not, we're still working on it. So if you text me, you don't get a response back within like 5 minutes. That means we're still working on some issues with the text system. It's not our system. So, it is what it is. We will get it fixed eventually. So that's why I keep talking about it, even though as of the day I'm recording this, it's not working. It will be working. Secondly, Work on Your Game University. All right, if you would like to work with me directly, you want to learn how to market and promote and sell yourself and get your stuff and your work out there to the world, to the people who actually need it, and you want to make money from it and build a business out of it. And I'm going to be talking about a lot of that here today. Go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. While you're listening to me, just go to workonyourgameuniversity.com and read what we have there on that page. You get all the information about what we do in our program, and you will know exactly what you can do to take the next step to get into our program, which is scheduling a call with us free of charge, no obligation, so we can find out who you are, where you're at, what your needs are, and if we feel like you'd be a good fit and we can actually help you, we will tell you how it works, what it looks like, and where we go from there. So go to workonyourgameuniversity.com. Link is down below in the description. Or, you don't even need the link. Just go to your web browser and type in workonyourgameuniversity.com. If you're on my email list, you get emails from me all the time. Click on the links in the email, workonyourgameuniversity.com. Usually it's the same link every time. So workonyourgameuniversity.com. Okay, today's topic, you need more than advertising. I'm talking about this as I see many people in business who maybe believe, or their actions reflect, that they need to spend some money on ads in order to stimulate transactional activity in their business. And they are not wrong. All right? Advertising can stimulate transactional activity in your business. Unfortunately, it's a couple things. Number one, the transactional activity you may be stimulating might not be the type you think that it is, because the main thing you might be transacting is you paying the ad platform that is giving you access. That's the transaction that's happening. You paying them. That's one. And the other thing is, just because you are spending money on ads does not necessarily mean your ideal people are going to be coming into your world and or giving you money. So we got to make sure we're doing this the right way. And again, on the surface, it is a good idea to advertise. Most companies that do lots of revenue, whatever you consider to be lots, usually do some form of advertising. Advertising, simply meaning, to define it here, people, is paying money to get attention on your offers. That's what advertising means. You pay money to someone or something in order to get more people to see whatever it is you're selling. Okay, so advertising does work. Advertising is a activity that many businesses that make lots of money partake in. However, there are some other things that need to go with this. That's what we're going to talk about here today. There are some issues and questions that come with advertising that I'm going to address here in today's episode. Point number one, today's topic, once again, is you need more than advertising. You should not just depend on advertising as the all of what you're going to be doing in business. And there's several reasons why. Number one, there are 3 ways to market yourself online, and only 3. I'll tell you what they are. I talked about this in episode 1835, by the way, in detail. One of them is advertising, which we're going to talk about today. Another one is content, like what you are consuming right now. This is content. That's free material that you put out that is designed to hopefully draw the attention of your ideal people and have them know, like, and trust you. And the third way is collaboration. That is when you work with other people who already have audiences and get some of their audience to now notice you because y'all are working together. You need a healthy mix of all 3 of these: advertising, content, collaboration. Again, listen to episode 1835 for more on this subject. Never rely on just one of these, because your ad costs, for example, let's say if you're running ads, your ad costs can go up significantly, and they could go up significantly with no heads up, no prior warning. And this can happen for many reasons. One is that your advertising is simply not producing the results. It's just not producing the results that you need to produce. Let's say you're selling a $100 product and you're spending $50 to get someone to buy your $100 product. That's actually a good deal, because if you're spending $50 to make $100, it means you're making $50 on every sale, $50 profit on every sale, notwithstanding your fulfillment costs, if there are any. So you should spend as much money as you can to keep making as many of those transactions as possible, because that's a pretty good deal that you got going there. But what if your product is not producing that type of return? Now you're spending $150 to make one sale, so now you're losing $50 on every sale. This does not necessarily have to be a bad thing. It depends on the mathematics of your business, because if you have other things that you sell after that first sale, then you could still end up on top and still end up making money, even though you took a loss on the initial transaction that your prospect or your customer, your now customer, just made. So it was with an asterisk when I say your ads are not working. Working has to be clearly defined. It must be defined, folks, mathematically. Working needs to be defined mathematically when we're talking advertising, because this is all just numbers. This is just simply doing the numbers and knowing your numbers and knowing the math of your business. And every business is different and unique. So there's no definite rule of thumb I can give you in terms of specific numbers. You need to know your numbers, and you need to know what numbers to look at and how to calculate this stuff. And this is the reason why I told you at the beginning of this episode, go to workonyourgameuniversity.com, work with me directly. I will walk you through what the numbers are that you need to be looking at. We'll figure out what the numbers are in your business. We can figure out how to create more return on investment for whatever activities you're doing, whatever marketing activities you're doing to drive business in your business. Or if you're not doing any, we're going to make sure you get started and start doing some. So it could be that your ads are not working. And again, working is in air quotes, because working can mean many things depending on your math. Your content may not be really touching with a certain audience. So this is the reason why. So you don't only focus on ads, because your ad costs can go up and they can be costing you money. That can put you out of business very quickly, depending on how much cash you have available. You should not depend just on content, because your content may not be reaching a certain audience for whatever reason. Also, when it comes to content, you can get kicked off any platform. All right, YouTube can just shut your channel down randomly. Anybody listen to this ever had their channel shut down randomly? Or do you follow someone whose channel you liked and then their channel just got demonetized, or YouTube said, all right, you can still put up videos, but you can't monetize anything. So now they don't want to do it because they're making money from YouTube. Or they got copyright strikes, or they just got completely kicked off of YouTube. I've seen this happen to people with very big, popular channels, bigger than mine, and they got kicked off of YouTube just out of nowhere. They just get an email, hey, you violated our policy, and because of this, we have ended your channel, or whatever they call it, discontinued, canceled your channel, and you cannot get this channel back. And that's pretty much the end of it. And it comes in one swift email, and that's it. And there is no recourse. That can happen to any of us. If you're on social media and your Instagram account is how you monetize your business, you sell everything through Instagram. I've known people who do this. They make all their sales through Instagram DMs, literally. And then they just send people like a Cash App and let people pay them for whatever it is they're selling. What if your Instagram account gets shut down? What are you going to do? So you should not rely on content just for this reason, simply because most of the time when we're publishing content these days, we're publishing on a platform which we do not own, which means whoever does own that platform could kick you off anytime they feel like it, or they can decide that you got to pay to access the audience of people who have already said they want to hear from you, such as what Facebook did many years ago. Those of you who are old enough and been around in the game long enough know this, that there was a time on Facebook when if you had a business page with 1,000 likes or 1,000 followers or whatever they call them now on Facebook, that if you posted something, all 1,000 people who had already liked your page would see that status update. They would see the post. Why? Because they have already liked your page. Of course they're going to see it because they liked your page. Of course they're going to see it, right? It's not like that anymore. These days, when you post something to a Facebook business page, for example, Facebook will tell you. They come out there just blatantly letting you know, listen, only like 3% of your audience saw this post. Only like 3% of them are even going to see this in their feeds. If you want 10% of people to see it, then boost this post for $12 over the next 3 days. $12 per day for the next 3 days. If you want 50% of your audience to see it, then you can boost the post for $50 a day. You want all your audience to see it, then you got to pay us like $137 a day for the next 5 days, and then everybody in your feed will see the post. The point being, Facebook has gone from letting you reach your organic audience freely to charging you to reach your own fans. That's what Facebook does right now. You have to pay to reach your own fans on Facebook. This applies on Instagram as well. It applies on YouTube as well. They charge you to get in touch with the people who have already decided to follow you. I'm not talking about to reach people who don't know you. I'm talking about to reach people who already know you. You got to pay to get access to those people. If any of you didn't know, this is what they're doing right now. If you pay more attention to your analytics, you can see this because it's obvious. They're not even hiding the fact that they do it. So you got to be careful on any platform because they can throttle your access to quote unquote your audience. It's not really your audience when you're on somebody else's land, but your audience, quote unquote. And they could also kick you off anytime they feel like it. All right, all of those things can happen. So you got to be careful with social media, and this happens to people every day. The best and healthiest of these three, of the three ways to market yourself online, the most reliable is collaboration. If I had to go with one, if I had to, somebody said, Dre, you could just run ads all day, or you can make content all day, or you can do collaborations all day. Which one would you want to do? You know, if my goal is just see how much money I can make as quickly as possible, I'd probably go with the ads because the ads will, again, you can, depending on how much money you want to spend on ads, you can get a lot of traffic very quickly. However, if someone's asking me a long-term strategy, and also given that the variables may change, I would go collaboration. I would definitely go collaboration. Why? I discussed this in a 3-part series that started in episode number 2484. So if you want to hear me talk about it, go listen to episode 24, 84, 85, and 86. This is the one, consequently, that most entrepreneurs are weakest at, is collaboration. I know many entrepreneurs, and I talk to a lot more than I know, and many of them are weak on collaboration because many of them simply don't have the communication skill to build a relationship with another person. Right? That's really the essence of what a collaboration is. Can you build a relationship, make a connection with another person, at least temporarily enough for both of you to get some mutual benefit from the situation? Many entrepreneurs, the answer to that question is no. They lack communication skills. You want to be, entrepreneur, well connected with other people who are in your same space, meaning people who could essentially be your competitors. And you want to have relationships with these people. And you even want to have friends amongst your competitors who are parallel to you. You want to have friends who are maybe selling a similar product to what you're selling. Why would you want to do this? Because there's a massive opportunity there, and it's this. You can connect with other people who already have some of your ideal prospects. And listen, people who buy stuff buy stuff. So just because I bought from person A does not mean I will not buy from person B. Just as I bought a course on marketing from person A does not mean I will not buy another book on marketing from person B. Most people gather information. They just gather information. Whether they use it or not is not your business. If you wrote a book, it's your job to get it into people's hands. Now, hopefully they read it, but you don't have any control of what they do after they get it, but your job is to get it in their hands. So if you got a friend who wrote a marketing book and you wrote a marketing book, understand that your customers will buy their book and their customers will buy your book. All right, it's not, nobody buys one book. People who actually read books don't buy one book. So I'm just using books as an example here. You can swap out courses. You can swap out coaching program. You can swap out conferences attended. I personally have bought, attended, been a member of different courses on the same subject, different books on the same subject, different events on the same subject, different, what's the other one I said? I don't even know what it was. Different everything on the same subject. I never only buy one thing from one person on any subject. Never. And I actually consume this stuff. So I'm a buyer. So anything you know that I bought on a particular, if you know I bought something on a particular subject and you have something to sell on that subject, you might want to try to sell it to me because I might buy it too. I might buy that. I might buy yours. This is so this opportunity when it comes to collaboration, folks, this is one of the reasons why you go to events. When I go to events, I don't go there to get information from the speakers on the stage because most of the speakers on the stage, everything they're talking about, I can probably find it somewhere in the stuff that they've already created, like their evergreen material. I don't have to catch what they say on the stage. They're not going to say anything on the stage that they haven't said before. For the most part, that's how it applies to speakers. It doesn't mean the speaker's not good. It doesn't mean they're not valuable. And it applies to me as well. If I go give a speech somewhere, what I'm going to say on that stage is I'm not going to be saying something I have never said anywhere else before. I have said it somewhere else before. Now, maybe you don't know where, but I have said it before. It's not going to be completely brand new information. Again, that doesn't mean that the value of the speaker is not valuable, but I don't need to hear what the speaker says right there in the moment. If they got a book, it's probably all in the book. If they got courses, it's in the courses. They got a coaching program, is definitely in the coaching program. And it's probably not the first time they're giving that exact same speech. I could probably find a video somewhere if I really want to hear what they have to say. And I've been to a lot of events, and long and short of it, for the most part, I don't really need to hear what the speaker has to say. It's interesting to just be in the same room and get their energy and get it in person. That's cool. But do I really need to hear the exact material? No. For the most part, the answer is no. I'm telling you all that to tell you this. You go to events to meet people, the attendees, not the speakers, the attendees. You want to meet the other people who are there, who are also in your lane, which they probably are in some way. That's why you're all both at the same event. You need to know these people. They need to know you. This is a collaboration. Remember, with advertising, your costs can go up. And we're going to talk about that a little bit more as we move into point number 2. Today's topic, once again, is you need more than advertising. Point number 2. I want you to listen very carefully to what I'm about to tell you on point number 2, especially those of you who are marketing yourself online in any way, especially if you're in the thought leadership space. Actually, you don't even got to be in the thought leadership space. This is anybody who's marketing online and you're running ads online. You need to hear everything I'm about to say in point number 2, because it has a strong bearing, a heavy bearing on the future of your business. Most ad companies receive the bulk of their money from enterprise entities. Most advertising platforms. So when I say that, I mean like Google. When you pay for ads on Google, or TikTok, you pay for ads there, or Meta, which is Facebook and Instagram ads, that most of the money that these companies make from advertising does not come from the everyday mom and pop advertiser. That means people like me and you. That's not where most of their advertising money comes from. Most of their advertising money comes from big entities, enterprises. What is an enterprise? These are companies who spend tens of millions of dollars on advertising every month. That's what I mean when I say an enterprise entity. Facebook, in other words, let me make this even more simple for those of you who think slowly. Facebook makes tens of millions of dollars every month from, let's say, Disney Corporation, which owns ESPN and all the Disney stuff. Disney spends tens of millions of dollars every month advertising on Facebook. So you and your $10,000 a month that you spend advertising on Facebook is shit to Facebook. They do not care. It's you. Your money is peanuts to them. They're getting 10 million from Disney. Why do they need your 10,000? Trick question. They don't need your 10,000. So if you're not that person who's spending millions of dollars a month on advertising, they don't need you. Facebook does not need you. Google does not need you. TikTok does not need you. Which means they can raise your prices anytime that they want to, meaning you need to pay more money to advertise. And if you can't afford it, or you just decide, no, I'm not going to advertise anymore because they keep raising my prices, because you walk away in a huff because you're mad, they don't care. They don't care if you disappeared. If you have 2 clients, you got one paying you $10 million a month and one paying you $10,000 a month, and a $10,000 a month person decides they don't want to work with you anymore, are you losing any sleep that night? Probably not, right? Because you still got 10 million coming in. You don't even notice the 10,000. You might not even know they left. These companies don't need your money. This is a reality of advertising, folks. This is a real thing that's happening today. Any of you who's running ads as a small business, you need to understand this. I know people spend $90,000 a month on advertising. They don't need them either. Again, you got companies giving them millions a month. Do the math on 90,000 to a million. They don't need that money. This mom and pop. When I say mom and pop, I mean people who are small businesses. Like you have 50 or fewer employees, and you're spending less than $100,000 a month on ads. They don't need you. Even if you spend $100,000, they might not need you either. All right, there could come a day when companies like Google and Facebook decide that, listen, to run ads at all, you got to spend this amount in order to even use our service. You're not spending at least $10,000 a month on ads, you can't run ads. There's a time that may happen. They say the minimum to run any ads at all, you got to spend at least $10,000. So basically, you got to pay us $10,000 up front. And if you go over the $10,000 amount that you spent, and we'll deduct that from your amount every time you run ads. But if you go over 10,000, let's say you spend 11,000, you got $11,000 of ad costs, then we'll just bill you the other $1,000 that you owe. But you got to give us 10,000 upfront every month to run ads, and then we'll just deduct it from the amount in your balance. You get what I'm saying? This is what they'll do. This could happen. And some of you may be thinking that will never happen. Think again. Again, if someone has customers who are paying them millions a month, why do they care about your thousands? Again, it's a trick question, folks. They don't care. Now, there are ways you can work around this. Like you can create a conglomerate, a group, and just let the group foot the bill. So everybody can put up $100. You get 100 people, boom, you got your money. But the general point of this is for you to think about what ways you can drive business without depending on advertising platforms, especially if you have not mastered driving business through advertising yet. So if you have not already figured out how to drive your business through ads, then you should be thinking about other ways to do it just in case, if and when ads don't work the way that they're working now. Advertising companies use lots of resources to service people who spend thousands of dollars a month on ads. So Facebook, Meta, they use a lot of resources to help people like me who might spend $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 in a month on ads. They could easily redirect those same resources to only serving clients who are giving them at least $1 million a month. They can just say, no, we just want to work with $1 million clients. If you're not spending $1 million a month, we don't want you anymore. We're just cutting off the bottom of our clientele. And listen, some of you who work in client-based businesses, it might be a good thing for you to do. All right, let me stop working with these people at the bottom 80% of my clientele. Let me just focus on the top 20% and expanding that top 20%. You have a lot more time. You still got the bulk of your money, and you just want to go find more people who fit into that top 20%. It's actually a good business framework, good idea to do business-wise. Now, the strategy of actually executing is a different story, but it's a good idea. What's stopping Google or Facebook from doing the exact same thing that you should do? What's stopping them from doing it? Nothing's stopping them. They could do this. They could reduce their clientele to only people who are giving at least $1 million a month, and they would be a lot more efficient in the process. You might be able to actually reach a human when you need help if they had a minimum of $1 million a month. They could fire a lot of their own staff, save money on payroll. There are a lot of benefits that these platforms can get from no longer servicing their smallest clients. If you think this is impossible to happen, you need to think again and think again after that. This is not only possible, I believe it's probable. It's just a matter of when. Point number 3. Today's topic, once again, is you need more than advertising. Number 3, is your material ready to be seen and consumed? If you're going to advertise, you should be asking this question and ask it and go through the answer with a fine-tooth comb. Let's say you did start running ads today. Where do you want to send people? If you ran an ad and somebody clicks on the ad, where should they go? Where do you want to send them? Is the place that you're sending them ready to be seen by people who have never heard of you, don't know you, and need to be moved to take action? Is whatever you send them to prepared for what they're about to get? Is your material professionally created? Who's the professional who created your material? You have graphics on your page. Were those graphics created by someone who actually knows how to create graphics? Someone who's good at it? Do they look good? You're going to spend money to send people to something to buy, then you better be spending money sending them to something that you spent money on to create. Is whatever it is that you're offering them going to offset your ad costs based on the value of what you're bringing to the table? All right. Did you put money into creating the thing? Or did you put money into the design, the look, the feel? All of that stuff matters, especially when you're running advertising, because you got people who never heard of you before coming to your page. So if your stuff doesn't look good, that may be your last chance with that person. And you spent money to get that chance that you blew. So if you're going to spend money, again, your stuff better look like you spent money. And I mean the presentation, how it looks, the aesthetics. This matters. So you need to understand the fundamentals of direct response advertising, of how to put together an ad, of copywriting. And if you don't understand these things, you couldn't teach it to another person, and you couldn't teach it to another person, then you probably shouldn't invest money in ads, because you may end up losing your money. Because you got to have these things down. You got to know how direct response works. You got to know how to put together an ad, and you got to know how to write copy. If you're not good at all 3 of those, or you have not hired someone who's good at all 3 of them to do them on your behalf, then I would suggest you not run any ads yet, because your ads are going to fall flat, and all you're doing is fattening Facebook's pockets by running ads, because your ads ain't going to do anything. So they got their money, but you didn't get any money. That's not a good deal. Even worse, you won't even know why things didn't work, because you got so many holes in your bucket. The holes could have, the water, the money, possible money could have flowed out of any one of them, because you got so many. So when you join Work on Your Game University, I will help you understand the basics of these things in full detail, so you can make decisions with knowledge rather than guessing. A lot of entrepreneurs do a whole lot of guessing as to what works and what doesn't work, and why not, and what is working, what's the reason. When you are clear on the fundamentals of your game, then it's easy to identify when something's not working, why it's not working, and what specifically needs to be addressed. But if you don't know the fundamentals, then it's easy to get confused. So recapping today's class, which is you need more than advertising. Number 1, there are 3 ways to market yourself online. There's ads, there's content, and there's collaboration. You need a healthy mix of all 3. If I had to pick one, I would go collaboration, because that is not dependent on another person's platform, and you are using someone else's audience who that person has already built, not having to build everything yourself. Number two, most ad companies get the bulk of their money from enterprise entities, companies that are paying them millions of dollars per month, which means they don't really need the thousands that most small business owners spend, which also means that at some point they could either A, raise the cost of advertising to filter out low, small money people. They could also put a minimum on it and say you got to spend at least this much every month on ads, or it's not even worth it for us to service your account to run ads. Or they could just say, you know what, we're not servicing you at all. If you're not in our top 20% of clients, you can't run ads anymore. We don't want to dedicate resources to you anymore. We don't want to keep paying our staff and employees to do it. You got to spend at least $1 million a month on ads. Otherwise, you can't run ads. And if you think that can happen, oh, it can. And I believe that it will at some point. Number three, is your material ready to be seen and consumed? You're going to run ads. Your material better look like somebody who has the money to pay for good design and good layout and a good framework. All right, your stuff needs to look the part. That's what I mean by this. Your material needs to be ready to be seen and consumed. The presentation of it matters. You need to understand the fundamentals of direct response, of how to put together an ad, and of copywriting in order to do these things. If you don't understand all three of these at a high level, and you couldn't teach it to another person at a high level, then you probably shouldn't invest money in ads, because your money's probably just going to go down the drain and into Facebook's septic tank. And you won't even know why, because you got so many holes in the bucket, it could have been any one of them. So join Work on Your Game University. That's at workonyourgameuniversity.com. And there, I will coach you through all of these things: presenting your stuff, building the collaborations, putting your content out there to build your audience, leveraging whatever audience you do have in order to move them to a next step, whatever that may be, and just overall building your business, ads or not. That is all at workonyourgameuniversity.com. Also, my number to get my text down below in the description, 305-384-6894. Work on your game. Dre, all